In Moscow, we saw the leaders of China and Russia pose as peace brokers. They were playing up and touting China's plan for peace in Ukraine. As reported, this is a plan that calls for the end of sanctions. It calls for a ceasefire, calls for talks. It does not include any call for Russia to withdraw from occupied territory. It was drawn up without the involvement of the Ukrainians. It has been roundly criticized by the West, again criticized by the U.S. and NATO. And overnight, we also heard from the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, who added that a ceasefire was not in his country's interest. Now, in addition to the overtures that we witnessed for peace in Ukraine and Moscow, Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin, they also emphasized their ever-deepening relationship, and it was on full display at the start of the state dinner on Tuesday. The two leaders raised a glass for a toast, and then we heard from Putin. He proclaimed that Russian-Chinese relations are at the highest point ever. And we also heard from Xi Jinping, who touted their close economic ties. Take a listen.
We have signed a joint statement to deepen our comprehensive partnership and strategic engagement as we enter a new era, and a joint statement on the development plan for key areas of Chinese-Russian economic cooperation for the period up to 2030.
Since the invasion, China has been buying Russian energy, effectively softening the impact of Western sanctions. And Putin now says that Russia is ready to increase uninterrupted oil supplies to China. He points out that Russia is the fourth largest supplier of liquefied gas to China, and those supplies will expand. And Putin also said that Moscow will support Chinese business in replacing Western enterprises that left the country. Now, there will likely be another meeting. We heard from Xi Jinping. He invited Putin to make another visit to China this year. And separately, John, a senior Ukrainian official tells CNN that talks are underway for that possible call between Xi and Zelensky, but nothing has been locked in. John.
What is also interesting is that at the same time this is all happening, we have the Prime Minister of Japan who made a surprise or unannounced visit to Kyiv to meet with Zelensky. This is the first time a Prime Minister of Japan has actually visited an active war zone since World War II. It is a significant visit. So how is China responding to that right now?
You know, it's very interesting. We have these two parallel summits involving two Asian leaders, with China's Xi Jinping in Moscow and Japan's Fumio Kishida in Kyiv. He made that surprise visit on Tuesday, going to Ukraine to visit with Vladimir Zelensky. The question was posed to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesman on Tuesday about the visit. This was the response from MOFA. The spokesman said this: the international community needs to stick to the right path of promoting peace talks and create conditions for the political settlement of the Ukraine crisis. He goes on to say, Japan has hoped to do more things that can help de-escalate the situation, not otherwise, unquote. The parallel visits that have been underway underscore the deepening geopolitical divide in Asia in the wake of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Of course, Japan is a close ally of the United States. Fumio Kishida, the Prime Minister of Japan, has been very vocal about the conflict there. Last year, Prime Minister Kishida saying, quote, Ukraine today may be East Asia tomorrow. Back to you, John.